Are you leaving your audience in the basement? If you don't know what that means, chances are you're actually doing it. And I'm gonna explain, but before I do that, I wanna introduce myself. My name is Andy Henriquez. I'm a business storytelling coach. I'm the founder of the Master Storyteller Academy and the Million Dollar Storyteller Mastermind. And over the past decade, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches, helping them to turn their story into profit. And I'm gonna show you exactly one of the #1 mistakes that so many of us make when we're sharing and telling our story. So when you first start sharing your story with your audience and your prospects, you are meeting your audience on what I like to refer to as ground level. So you are essentially at ground level with your audience when you first start sharing and telling your story. Now, there has to be a moment in your story where you're gonna introduce some type of conflict. As a matter of fact, I want you to write this down. No conflict, no story. If you're going to tell your story, at some point, you need to introduce conflict in the story. Now, whatever that conflict may be, maybe it was the moment that you got the bad diagnosis from the doctor, maybe it was the moment you lost your job, maybe it was the moment that you went through the terrible divorce. Whatever the thing is, it is important that there is some level of conflict in your story. Now, here's what's important for you to know. Once there is conflict in your story, the moment you start introducing the conflict, you're beginning to take the audience down the stairs, right? And you say, Andy, what kind of stairs? The stairs of emotion. You're taking them someplace. Is that okay? Absolutely. Listen, the great Jim Rohn, who was a mentor to Tony Robbins and a mentor to Les Brown, in one of his audio tapes, The Art of Exceptional Living, he had a statement. Here's what he said. He said, take me high, take me low, just don't leave me where you found me. When you do start sharing your stories, it is expected that you're gonna take your audience someplace. But here's the big mistake that so many entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, and experts make. When they begin to share and tell their story, they get to a place where they begin to overshare. And when they overshare, here's what happens. They go down the unforbidden steps and they take the audience someplace emotionally that they don't have the ability to bring the audience back from. And so what happens is when you overshare and you take the audience all the way in the basement and you leave them in the basement emotionally, they are not in a good emotional state to respond to the thing that you want them to do as a result of the story. And so in some cases, so many entrepreneurs begin to overshare, and as a result of oversharing, they bring people into the basement emotionally, and then they wonder why didn't the people take any action? So here's the thing. We want them to feel the emotion, but we want to get to the place where we can bring them back out without leaving them in the basement. So here's what I want you to be thinking about. When you are sharing and telling your story, are you leaving your ideal customer and client in the basement? What I want you to understand is it is perfectly great for you to go ahead and introduce a challenge in your story. It is perfectly fine for you to go ahead and make sure you trigger some level of emotion, but you gotta make sure that you don't go down too many steps so that you don't have the ability to be able to bring the audience back out. Now, here's the thing. You might be wondering this. Is your goal to just take them down a couple of steps and then bring them right back out? No, that's not what you need to do. You see, when we are effectively sharing and telling our stories that connect and convert, we don't want to bring the audience back to ground level, but rather we want to take the audience higher than where they were when they first came in front of us or when we first connected with them. Listen to me carefully. If all you did was tell a story that brought the audience down a couple of steps and then brought them back up, you didn't really accomplish anything. The reason why we tell stories that include a challenge and we take the audience with us a couple steps down is so that they can appreciate it when we bring them back out and we lift them up. And once we begin to lift them up, they are inspired to do what? To take action. They are inspired to do the thing that you're wanting them to do, whatever that thing is, whether you want them to change their lives, whether you want them to buy your products or your services, whether you want them to follow you on social media, whatever the thing is. So listen to me carefully here. You want to stop committing the terrible sin of leaving your audience in the basement. That is a result of oversharing. It is okay for you to go into the pain point, but if you begin to overshare, you're gonna take them a place emotionally that you don't have the time to bring them back out of. Now, how do you do that? That is gonna require some practice. That's gonna require that you be able to share the story and be able to gauge where you are emotionally, see where you're taking the audience, and then be able to really feel when it is time for you to start taking the audience back out so that you don't leave them in the basement. That's gonna take some reps, that's gonna take some practice and some repetition. As a matter of fact, I would love to be able to help you with that. And I've got a free resource for you down in the details section. You can go ahead and click on that and it'll show you exactly how to position your story to be able to take the audience someplace emotionally and then also be able to bring them back. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and do me a favor, leave a comment down in the comment section below, and I've got plenty more great videos around strategic storytelling coming your way.